Hello, this is Angela with Parker's Permaculture. It is a beautiful May afternoon here in Portland, Oregon, and street racers are racing up on Sandy Boulevard, but I am in my garden enjoying the beautiful weather, doing some weeding, doing some pruning, and I wanted to show you a few things around the garden this time of year. So this is right up by the front of the house. This is my persimmon tree. This is a persimmon guild with Egyptian walking onions, which I'm going to be picking some of them to make Asian scallion pancakes to go with our stir fry tonight. But this bed has a lot of volunteers in it, including volunteer radishes. I love to let radishes self-sow for a variety of reasons. One, we eat the radishes, but two, they are great bee food when they flower, and three, they're great chicken snacks. So I'm a big fan of annuals that kind of self-sow wherever, and if they come up where I don't want them, like here along the edge of the path, they become free chicken fodder. So I just pick them, this dandelion can go to, and those will go into my bucket for chicken snacks. In this part of the garden, the chickens can't really free range. They'll do too much damage, and I don't have adequate fencing. And so that means I do a little bit of weeding up here, but these aren't really like weeds. These are part of the design. They're intentional, grown here because I know that they will be a source of food. So it's really not weeding, it's more like harvesting, right? Glove on and protect my hands, and I'm just coming through and I'm thinning. So I don't want to take all of the really little ones because those will be food for ducks and chickens here in a few days. And then if there happens to be a radish attached to it, we'll be eating that. I love radishes sliced and served with a little bit of salt water or a little bit of vinegar. Now, they may not be super round because they are volunteers and they're growing close together, but that doesn't mean that there's not a tasty radish on the end. Again, I'm coming in and I'm just thinning, right? These are crowding my walking onions a little bit. I want to get down in here and take out those volunteer radishes, and that's a great bundle of greens for my poultry. So part of how the system is meant to function. And while I'm in here, if I do see any weeds, gosh, I really don't. Everything here is something that I have planted. You can see here, this is Nigella, Lebanon Mist, Egyptian walking onions, columbine. All of these are annual and perennial volunteers that I want in this bed. You can see bloody sorrel here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get enough to where the birds have enough for a snack. Now, I do want to make sure that I'm not weeding so much that a percentage of these don't get to flower, because they are self-sowing annuals. So some of them need to be allowed to flower and set seed. By the way, the buds and blossoms can be eaten just like broccoli because it's the same species, but want to make sure that some of these get to flower so that they provide pollinator food, and some percentage of them are allowed to set seed and self-sow around. When I have things that I intentionally want to grow packed in tightly, there's no room for weeds to get in here. There really isn't any weed pressure here at all. It's all things I have intentionally cultivated. In the front yard, you can see here, this is my Turkish rocket. This is a perennial flowering broccoli substitute. You can see that it is growing right next to a volunteer dandelion. So you want to be careful if you have your Turkish rocket. This is a wanted perennial dandelion, also edible, but I don't want it here. I'm going to pull it up. End up with more dandelion greens than my birds can eat. These make great mulch, by the way. I can put them back on the bed. Okay, something else that is occupying some of my gardening time is my pawpaws. It is pawpaw season. And I have some videos on how to properly pollinate pawpaws by hand. You can see here, a little baby. Pawpaws are not self-fertile, and you can see here I have two varieties, and I'm taking the pollen from one and spreading it onto the flowers of the other, and then vice versa. I just use a little paintbrush and a yogurt lid. And today I'm out in the garden hand pollinating my pawpaws. So this is Asamina triloba. They flower before they fully leaf out, so they look like kind of little sticks right now. But you can see all of these maroon colored jobbies hanging on here. Those are all the flowers. The flowers are fly pollinated. This is a very ancient tree of the custard apple family. Pawpaw is also called Indiana banana. It is the largest native edible tree fruit in North America. Because pawpaws are fly pollinated, they don't always get super well pollinated in the garden. And some gardeners actually hang rotting meat from the branches to attract more flies. Usually carrion colored flowers, that kind of maroony, browny colored flower, is going to be an indication that it is a fly pollinated plant. Now for these, let me flip the camera around, hang on one second. Okay, here's a great look at the different stages of pawpaw flowers. So they start out like this, green with a little bit of a blush to them. These are young flowers. At this stage, they are able to receive pollen. The female part of the flower is active. And as they age, they no longer become able to be pollinated, and instead they turn dark maroon like this, and they become pollen producers. So the pollen from an older flower is used to pollinate a younger flower, but not on the same plant. So pollen from this variety is used to pollinate this tree over here. And pollen from this tree is used to pollinate this tree. Okay, so I've got to get back to hand pollinating before I go in and make dinner, but I thought you would like a little look at the pawpaw Asamina triloba this time of year. This is a wonderful native plant to North America. It is not native where I live here in Oregon. It takes a lot of babying to get it going, but I love pawpaws and had fond memories of them from my childhood, so I really wanted to grow them in my permaculture garden. Okay, let's move to the backyard real quick so I can feed the chickens all of the greens that I've picked them in the front. All right, Birdie's got fed. Birdie's got fed. I'm getting ready to do some weeding back here. Now, the backyard is still in that initial phase of spring. None of my annual beds have any veggies planted in them yet. I have summer squash and things going in the house, and I ordered some peppers, sweet peppers, from a local grower because I knew I wasn't gonna have time to start them myself. And we're gonna go to a local plant sale. A woman in our neighborhood starts tomatoes. So none of those things are in yet. There's just these self-sowing annuals going in the beds, and then some perennials like chives and things like that. The rain garden next to me is looking pretty fabulous. I know it's super sunny out, so it's hard to see. I'll flip the camera around in a second. Nothing is blooming yet, but it's still visually really interesting because I have on purpose stacked in very different foliage shapes so that I don't need flowers for the garden to be interesting. The only thing that has flowered and finished, aside from this rhubarb, which has been flowering, is my tree peony. Whoa, right here. Everything else has yet to flower, but that's okay. It's still really beautiful. Lady's mantle just coming up, sanguisorba, mini roses. I have echinacea back there. I have all kinds of annuals in here, a whole bunch of natives as well. Blue false indigo just coming up. Just getting going, right next to my tree peony, which is done. Here's a look back up this way. Okay, I'll leave it there for now. I hope you are enjoying your spring garden as much as I'm enjoying mine. Also, please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Those are great ways you can support the work of this channel. I don't know about y'all, but I cannot spend too much time in the garden in May. It's just absolutely gorgeous and green and lush. In fact, I've been spending a lot of my evenings with my spinning wheel out back looking over the rain garden. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back real soon. Bye-bye.